Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So this is my first video for all the budding dentists out there, and I'll try to cover our first subject, oral pathology, all the important questions for all the chapters. So without wasting our time, first chapter is developmental defects of oral and maxillofacial region. So these are the important topics which are frequently asked for Viva and theory exam. We will cover our four topics in this video: Fordyce granules, ankylosing, Fisher tongue, hairy tongue. These all can be asked as short notes for 5 marks. Now, first topic is Fordyce granules. Fordyce granules is an ectopic sebaceous gland. Ectopic means abnormally placed. Sebaceous is wax or oil glands. Like we have sebaceous glands all over our body except palms and soles. Wherever hair are present, there are sebaceous gland. Okay, but in oral mucosa, they are ectopically abnormally present there. Okay, and they are present in like more than 80% of population, so they are considered as like normal anatomic variation. And in males and female it is equally present, but in adults, due to hormonal factors, like when puberty hits, there are more pimples and everything, so the sebaceous glands are present more in adults due to hormonal factors. Now, common site is buccal mucosa, like the inner side of the cheek, the mucosa, and on the inner side of the cheek is buccal mucosa. Then lateral portion of the vermilion of upper lip. What is vermilion? So, like this is the lip. So this part, the border, this is lateral portion of the vermilion of upper lip, and then retromolar area, and then the tongue area. So what is Fordyce granules? There are multiple granular, okay, papular lesions. What is the difference between papule and macule? Macule is like discoloration or differently colored. It has no elevation, but for papule there is a raised part, that is the elevated part that has some height. So these are multiple yellow white papular lesions. Okay, they don't have any clinical pain or something, clinical feature like pain, but they are asymptomatic, but we can feel a slight roughness because of the elevation, because they are papular lesions. They are bilaterally symmetrical. That means if they are present on right side, they were also present on the left side. Then what are the histopath features? Histopath is, like we have told, sebaceous glands are present wherever the hair are present. So there are hair follicles and sebaceous glands. But in these glands, there is the absence of hair follicles. And acinar lobules beneath epithelial surface communicates with epithelium by central duct. What does it mean? It means, like in this diagram, if you see this diagram, this is the histopath diagram, and yeah, so if we see it, these are the acinar lobules here, whatever I'm like marking with red. Okay, and these lobules have sebaceous cells. Okay, these are the, whatever I'm marking with purple, these are the sebaceous cells, and sebaceous cells are polygonal. Polygonal means irregular shape. Okay, and they have a centrally located nuclei. If you see, the nuclei are in center. Okay, and there's a foamy cytoplasm, light cytoplasm, and these were sebaceous cells. This is a acinar lobule, and this is the central duct which connects the epithelium. This is the epithelium which connects the epithelium with the central duct. This is central duct. Central duct. Okay. So this is the histology, that is hair follicles are absent. Acinar lobules have sebaceous cells. Sebaceous cells are polygonal, they have a irregular shape, and they have centrally located nuclei with foamy cytoplasm, and there is a central duct which connects it with the epithelium. So now, what is the treatment for this? The treatment is as it is asymptomatic, so like normally we do not require any treatment for it, and but really it can become hyperplastic. Hyperplastic means that it can increase in number, like it can become hyperplastic and it can form keratinized pseudocysts. Pseudocysts is false cyst, okay, and these are, you do not require treatment for it. Now our next topic is ankyloglossia. Ankylo means rigid and glossia means tongue. So with this, basically the tongue is restricted, there is a tongue tie, okay. So there is a short thick frenum. Frenum is, this area is frenum, okay. This is lingual frenum. We have other frenum as well as labial frenum, buccal frenum, okay. So the lingual frenum is short and thick, which limits the tongue movement. So it results in limitation of the tongue movement, and it is more in males, like 4 times in males, okay, than females. And there is a, for clinical features, there is a level of severity. Level of severities, like there will be mild case, okay, then there will be moderate, and then there's severe case. So in mild case, it does not restrict the tongue movement, and in moderate, like frenum can extend forward, okay, frenum extends a little forward, but in some cases it attaches to the tip of tongue. When frenum attaches to the tip of tongue, it divides the tip of tongue into 2 parts, so there will be 2 tips of tongue. That is called a bifid tongue. So it can also happen, like in severe cases, there will be frenum will be completely fused with the floor, so tongue is completely fused with floor, so tongue movement is completely restricted, okay. And open bite can occur because there will be lack of normal adult swallowing pattern, okay. So open bite, that is maxillomandibular cannot close, teeth cannot close, and so there will be open bite. There will be periodontal problems also, the speech problem, feeding problems in kids, and dyspnea is difficult breathing. So what is the treatment? Basically treatment, it is like self-correcting, because as the child grows, the tip of tongue grows, okay. So the tongue becomes thinner and longer, which decreases the severity, okay. The second treatment is for infants who have feeding problem, that is phrenotomy. In phrenotomy, we simply give incision. There is no LAGA required, no anesthesia is required, no stitches are required, because there is a very less blood vessels present there. So in infants, phrenotomy can be done. But when the child grows, or in adults, they have a thick frenum, so they require just the phrenotomy is not enough. So frenuloplasty is done, in which the frenum is incised and then is relocated to the attachment point. Other related term is frenectomy, when we like completely remove the frenum, like right up to its attachment to the underlying bone. So that is like frenectomy, okay. So this was about ankyloglossia. And third is fissure tongue. We call it as scrotal tongue also. Scrotum is the sac in which the testes lie, so it looks like that, the tongue. So it is called a scrotal tongue. So there will be numerous grooves. You can see here that there are numerous grooves on the tongue. So there are numerous grooves on the dorsal surface of tongue, and in males it is more than females, okay. So you can see here there is a tongue, and there can be 2 patterns can be seen, okay. Like if you watch this first image, the central groove is there, and then the smaller fissures are branching from it at right angle they're branching. So this is the first pattern, and depth of fissures can be like 6 mm, okay. And the second pattern is like there are many fissures, okay, which cover the dorsal surface and divides into parts which are called as islands, okay. These individual part, they are called as islands. And then there is like, it is asymptomatic. It is because of genetic reason it's present there. The reason, real etiology is still not known. And there can be like mild soreness because there are fissures, so food debris get collected there, so because of that there can be soreness, and this is loss of filiform papillae, and it is associated with Mel-Carson-Rosenthal syndrome. We will read about Mel-Carson-Rosenthal syndrome later in detail, but it's like a facial palsy in which there is a swelling of upper lip, okay, and fisher tongue is also there. And in histopath, if you see, there is hyperplasia of retipex. So what is retipex? You will see retipex here. So these are elongated, okay. So the part of epithelium that comes into connective tissue, so epithelium ka part that comes into connective tissue, that is called as retipex. So retipex ka hyperplasia ho gaya, and there is a loss of keratin on surface of filiform papilla, and obviously inflammation can be seen. So inflammatory infiltrate or polymorphonuclear leukocytes are there, okay. What we can do is we can brush to remove the debris from grooves, okay, and generally there is no treatment indicated, but because it is a benign, it doesn't spread, so it is not a malignant condition, okay. Also there is parakeratosis. What is parakeratosis? That the cells have pycnotic nuclei. What is pycnotic nuclei? Pycnotic nuclei is condensed chromatin, okay, so it's a condensed nuclei. So these are present. Our next topic is hairy tongue. Hairy tongue is the other names are lingua nigra, which means nigra is word for black, lingua villosa, black hairy tongue or coated tongue, okay. So how it happens, like normally there is, for every cell there is a shedding phase, okay, but in this the shedding doesn't occur, that is desquamation doesn't occur. So there is decrease in normal keratin, desquamation, okay. So the keratin gets deposits on the filiform papillae, and filiform papillae have like now hair like appearance because their length also increases, and it is more in males. All the four conditions, except the first one, all the three we read had more sex predilection for the males. And etiology, it can be due to poor oral hygiene, okay. Somebody is not scraping off that tongue and debris on the tongue, and they are eating soft diet with no roughage, like they are taking just the soft diet like milk or anything, liquids, but they are not having any fiber content. So self-cleansing property of foods is there because of roughage only, so that is not there. It can occur due to tobacco, smoking, or staining foods like coffee, or someone who had underwent a radiation therapy to the head and neck. Now what are the common site, okay. So this is the sulcus terminalis. The sulcus terminalis is this V-shaped thing, and in front of that there are circumvallate papillae, okay. Circumvallate papillae. Other papillae are filiform, fungiform papillae are there, but here are circumvallate papillae. So it occurs more near the midline, okay. Near midlines it is occurring more, you can see, and it occurs anterior to the circumvallate papillae. Then clinical features are that the filiform papillae can elongate like 5 mm, and then asymptomatic है, कोई दर्द नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, but it can cause like bad smell, bad taste, or gagging sensation because there's so much deposition on the tongue. So these are just general clinical features of hairy tongue. And why it is called hairy? Because it doesn't mean that it has hair or something, but filiform papillae elongate and they look a hair-like appearance, okay. They give a hair-like appearance. Now how can we diagnose? We will raise the papillae with some dental instrument or gauze piece, so we can see the filiform hair-like structure. And differential diagnosis, we should do it from oral hairy leukoplakia, which is like in HIV patients, and it is due to Epstein-Barr virus, okay. Also the elongations are on lateral side of tongue. For hairy tongue it was in the near the midline. Then histopath is marked elongation of filiform papillae, and hyperparakeratosis. Parakeratosis is the same word, that the nuclei in the cells are condensed, the chromatin is condensed, okay. So there is a nucleus is present there, so hyperparakeratosis. And there are numerous bacteria on epithelial surface, because there is so much debris. You can easily find so many bacteria there on the slide. And then treatment is like we remove whatever the predisposing factors, like somebody's taking antibiotics or tobacco or doing smoking, so we can try to remove these predisposing factors. Also, we'll suggest the patient to scrape off the tongue regularly with the brush or with tongue scrapers available in the market. And using these keratolytic agents like podophyllum is warned. Okay, this was used topically, but now we don't suggest podophyllum. Then electrodesiccation and CO2 lasers are other way. Electrodesiccation is like we use electric currents between the spaces in the papillae, which leads to dehydration of the papillae. Thank you. If you like my video and you find it informative, please like, comment and share. Comment